Dude. Hey, I'm a friend. Okay?
The man was pinned down on the bed by his pet chimpanzee. Its immense strength made it impossible for him to break free. He feared the chimpanzee had some kind of unusual fetish. He flew into a rage and started shouting insults. The chimp flew into a fury and dug its fingers into his chin. Then the chimpanzee began greedily gnawing at the man's chin. What was bone-chilling was that everyone else in the villa was still partying by the pool. They had no idea this place would soon become a bloody killing ground for the chimpanzee. The story took place during the scorching summer. To spend an unforgettable summer vacation, Lucy invited her friends to her hometown in Hawaii. Everyone boarded the plane full of anticipation. They chatted and laughed all the way, relaxed and carefree, completely unaware that disaster was about to befall them. After a long journey, everyone finally arrived at Lucy's single-family villa. After bringing their luggage inside and settling in, Lucy went over to greet her father, Adam. He was deaf and mute, so the two could only communicate using sign language. Her father told Lucy he had to excuse himself. The company had suddenly asked him to hold a fan meet and greet. He would most likely leave tomorrow. The round trip would take at least 2 or 3 days. Lucy told her father to go ahead and take care of his business. She had her friends with her and wasn't lonely. Not only did she have friends, but Lucy's family also kept a lovely chimpanzee named Ben. The little guy was very intelligent. Ben was first brought home by Lucy's mother. Her mother was a linguistics professor. Before she passed away, she had been training Ben to communicate with humans. The clever Ben lived up to her expectations. He even learned to communicate simply with people using a tablet. Unluckily, her mother later died painfully from cancer. Lucy and her younger sister were heartbroken, but they were grateful to have Ben's company. Every time they saw the little guy, they felt their mother was still with them. Thinking her friends hadn't met Ben yet, Lucy immediately took Ben to meet them. Her friends were shocked to see a chimpanzee kept as a pet. They asked why the chimpanzee wasn't living in the forest. Lucy replied that Ben was part of the family. He could understand human speech. His intelligence was similar to that of a human primary school student. Shaking hands and other tricks were easy for him. At night, everyone stayed in their rooms. Only Hannah felt bored. She wandered around the villa, wanting to go to the pool to feel the breeze, so she trotted down to the first floor. She tested the water temperature, found it comfortable, and put her feet in. While she was lost in thought, a faint breathing sound came from behind her. Hannah was so frightened that she jumped up instantly. She looked closely and saw it was Ben. She breathed a sigh of relief, but his expression was really unnatural. He seemed completely different from the cute and silly little chimpanzee during the day. Hannah tentatively called his name. Ben looked up and immediately raised his hand. Hannah thought he wanted to shake hands, so she cooperated obediently. At first, everything was normal. The immense force caused Hannah to wail in pain. She couldn't understand why Ben had suddenly become aggressive. As they struggled, a sharp whistle sounded. Ben immediately let go and sat down obediently. It was Adam who had whistled. Realizing Hannah was frightened, he typed a line of words on his phone, explaining that Ben just felt uncomfortable around strangers, but he meant no harm. Then Adam used sign language to tell Hannah to rest early, and left with Ben. It was getting late, and Ben should go into his cage to sleep. He obediently went into his little den. Adam was about to close the cage, but strangely, why was there a bloody meerkat corpse on the ground? Adam questioned Ben with sign language, wanting to know why. He had hurt other small animals. Ben kept shaking his little head, trying to show he hadn't started the trouble. Adam knew this guy would never admit his mistake. With things as they were, he had to check Ben's body, only to find that Ben had wounds on him. They looked like bite marks. No one knew if there was any virus on the meerkat corpse, but it was late, so Adam could only close the cage first. The next day, Adam put the meerkat into a bag, planning to send it to the research institute for testing. Before leaving, he specifically told Lucy not to let Ben out of the cage until the test results came out. Feeding and other matters should be left to a professional doctor. He would tell the doctor to bring some antibiotics when coming, so that Ben's wounds could recover faster. Lucy and her sister told their father not to worry. After breakfast, everyone partied in the pool. As the camera pulled back, it could be seen that the villa had an excellent location. It was surrounded by endless forests, and this was the only house for hundreds of miles. If anything happened, no one would know. Everyone had been fooling around like this all day. At night, everyone gathered together to chat. Lucy wanted to have some fun, so she started talking about Hannah. The reason she chose her was that Hannah often flirted with all kinds of boys, making her an easy target for teasing. Of course, there was also a hint of taking personal revenge, to get back at Hannah for having a crush on the guy she liked. Lucy asked her if she hadn't urged Kate to get the numbers of several cute boys on the plane, if she wanted to call them now. Hannah wasn't stupid. She could tell Lucy was subtly mocking her for being a player, but she wasn't intimidated at all, so she went to Kate and asked her to hand over the phone. After the messing around, Kate had drunk too much and passed out. Lucy quickly took her back to her room. After Kate got into bed, she opened her eyes, then she took out her best friend necklace. She looked at Lucy and said they would be best friends forever. On the other side, Hannah was chatting with Nick, the boy next to her. She mentioned that Lucy had a crush on him. Nick immediately said it was impossible, they only had a brother-sister relationship. Hannah felt completely relieved and took the initiative to lean closer. As it happened, Nick also had feelings for her. Lucy, who saw the scene, felt heartbroken. Her relationship had ended before it even started. The key point was that they were good friends, and they would inevitably meet often in the future. At the same time, the doctor entered Ben's cage with antibiotics. He smiled and asked him what was wrong. Strangely, Ben didn't excitedly ask for a hug as usual, thinking he was just in a bad mood. The doctor said he'd also had a lot of troubles lately. He rambled on while looking for the medicine, but when he turned around, Ben was gone. He realized the guy was hiding in his den, and quickly lured him with his favorite teddy bear. He comforted him that he would recover after taking the medicine. He'd be back to full strength and play happily tomorrow. As soon as he finished speaking, Ben suddenly went crazy and dragged him into the den. He quickly tore at his face. The doctor died at the age of 28. The brief crashing noise woke Kate, whose room was near the cage. She didn't take it seriously, and got up to get a glass of water and play with her phone. She was absorbed in her phone when a strange sound came from nearby. She turned around and saw Ben's teddy bear on the dining table. She wondered why it wasn't in the cage. Ben slowly approached Kate. Kate asked what he was doing. He kept moving forward as if deaf. He even let out a creepy roar. Kate panicked and hid in the living room. Although separated by the frosted glass door, she could clearly feel a strong sense of murderous intent. Something was obviously about to happen. Kate shouted for Lucy to come downstairs. Lucy did come down, and she was very careless. As soon as she heard Ben was acting strange, she immediately pushed open the glass door. She wanted to see what Ben had done to scare Kate so much. But Ben was nowhere to be seen in the restaurant. Lucy asked Kate if she had seen wrong. Ben should have been locked in the cage, but she soon realized something was wrong, because Ben's teddy bear was on the ground, and the teddy bear was stained with warm blood. Kate calmed down a little at this point. She mentioned that the way Ben looked at her was like a tiger looking at a chicken, only pure, cold killing intent. Lucy's sister heard this and stepped forward to refute, saying that Ben was the cutest angel chimpanzee in the world. He would never hurt anyone. As soon as she finished speaking, Ben's roar and Hannah's piercing scream came from outside. Lucy followed the sound to the poolside. The furious and manic Ben fell silent instantly. Lucy didn't know why he had changed so much, but luckily, he still recognized her. While she was calming Ben down, Nick suggested tying Ben up with a rope. He approached the rope as carefully as possible. Ben's attention was on Lucy, so he didn't attack him. Just then, an accident happened. A singing electric toy suddenly went off. Ben immediately bared his teeth and screamed. Nick quickly threw the toy off the cliff. Ben did quiet down, but when it saw the rope, it seemed to know what it meant, so it began to roar and flail its arms again. As family, Lucy tried to touch Ben with love. She thought Ben was just mentally disturbed, so she stepped forward and hugged him tightly, gently asking what was wrong. Don't worry too much, just put the rope over your head first. She would contact a doctor to come and check him over. Ben cooperated and put on the rope. Everyone's tense hearts relaxed instantly. Ben tried to chew through the rope but failed. It quickly turned around and attacked Nick, who had gotten the rope. If the rope hadn't tightened around its neck, Nick would most likely have died right there. Just then, the younger sister heard the noise and came to the pool. She saw that Ben was like a completely different chimpanzee. She thought they should contact a doctor immediately. Lucy was angry when she saw her sister had come down. She demanded why she hadn't stayed upstairs properly. Kate thought this wasn't the time to argue about it. They really should hurry to contact professionals for help. Ben was just like a mad dog now. Hannah thought they needed to find a gun to defend themselves before the doctor arrived. Lucy was furious, asking if they were going to kill Ben. Hannah didn't care if Ben was family. She believed an animal that went mad and tried to hurt people should be killed right away. Lucy flew into a rage and completely fell out with her. She shouted, "I've never liked you in the first place. If Kate hadn't insisted on inviting you, I would have left you outside the door." While the two were arguing, Kate was calling the doctor. Strangely, why was the ringtone coming from nearby? Lucy listened carefully. and said firmly that the sound was coming from the cage, but the doctor didn't answer. At this point, Lucy finally realized the seriousness of the situation. She told her sister to stay away from Ben. The next second, Ben pounced on the younger sister and bit her wildly. Everyone panicked and rushed forward to pull him off, but a piece of skin was still torn off by Ben. No one expected the little chimpanzee to be so strong. Nick remembered that Ben couldn't swim, so he told everyone to jump into the pool quickly. It turned out they were right. Ben hesitated at the water's edge. He was so anxious that he kept pounding his chest with his fists. But the problem now was that the younger sister was seriously injured. From Ben's bloodthirsty and terrifying appearance, he was clearly infected with rabies. If the younger sister didn't stop the bleeding and receive timely treatment, she would surely die. Besides, floating on the water all the time consumed physical strength. If they couldn't think of a solution before their strength ran out, they would still not escape death in the end. At this point, Nick offered his shirt, hoping it could act as a tourniquet to stop the bleeding first. The younger sister wasn't going to die for the time being, and everyone looked toward the shore. They found Ben had been guarding there the whole time. The group had no choice but to shout for help. Of course, this method was completely useless. There were no other residents nearby at all. While the several people were shouting loudly, Ben climbed to the other side of the pool to hunt. Nick thought this was a good chance. They could take the opportunity to push him off the cliff. They didn't expect the rabies-infected chimpanzee to be so terrifying. An adult man was completely defeated in both intelligence and strength. The others were stunned, looking at Ben possessed by a killing intent. They were filled with despair. After another stalemate, Kate felt she was almost out of strength. Lucy set her sights on the inflatable mat not far away. She immediately asked Kate to look after her sister. Then she checked Ben's position, and found he didn't seem to intend to attack. She grabbed the inflatable mat, stepped back slowly, and successfully threw it into the pool. She then fixed her eyes on Kate's phone nearby. Hannah worried something would happen to her, and whispered to remind her to come back quickly, but Lucy didn't listen. She kept moving closer to the phone. Kate used a provocative tone to attract Ben's attention. She successfully bought time for Lucy to escape. After getting the phone, Kate quickly unlocked it to call the police. Unluckily, the phone screen was too badly damaged. The buttons were completely unusable. She could only pray and open the recent call history. After contacting the boy she met on the plane, Kate begged him to come and save them. Unexpectedly, the other party was full of foul language. Hannah angrily took the phone into her own hand. Just as she was about to say something, Ben suddenly grabbed her hair from above. The chimpanzee had taken advantage of their distraction, and climbed down along the light cord to attack. Lucy and the others hurriedly tried to pull her away. After a bone-chilling tearing sound, Hannah's scalp was completely torn off. Now they couldn't stay under the light cord either. Their living space was reduced once again. They forced themselves to calm down. They wanted to call for help again, only to find the phone was completely dead. Although those boys knew the villa's address, but they seemed so unreliable that no one could count on them. At this point, Ben brought the tablet, and kept making the voice assistant repeat death. Lucy was very disappointed in him. She knew that the once innocent and lovely Ben was completely gone. Meanwhile, Adam was busy signing autographs for fans. Suddenly, the testing agency called him. Not knowing something had happened, he hung up the phone. The staff had no choice but to send him a text message, asking where he found the meerkat, as it carried the rabies virus. Adam didn't panic, saying Hawaii was the only rabies-free state in the US. The staff explained the facts to him. He also thought the sample might have been contaminated, and decided to have it tested again. But after the fan meeting, Adam still called his daughter, but her phone was upstairs and she hadn't brought it down. At this point, Lucy and the other three were exhausted, and could only rest on the inflatable mat. When they opened their eyes again, they found Ben had left. Hannah thought Ben had died of the illness, but no one knew the truth. Lucy refused to give up this good opportunity. She wanted to go to the living room, to get Nick's phone and call the police, because her sister's injury couldn't hold on much longer. After she went ashore first, Kate followed. Worried, the two crept down to the first floor. It was deadly quiet all around. Even the slightest wind was amplified to be very clear. They mustered up the courage to push open the living room door, praying silently that Ben wasn't in the villa. After searching, they successfully found Nick's phone. Unluckily, they accidentally turned on the TV while grabbing the phone. Koala Adventure was Ben's favorite cartoon. He got excited when he heard the sound. They had no idea he was upstairs. Lucy quickly pulled Kate into the closet to hide. Seconds later, Ben rushed to the TV. He found no one alive here, he flew into a rage and started smashing everything. After destroying it, he walked straight toward the closet. Lucy fought back her fear and locked the closet door. Ben sniffed at the door and then went back to watch TV. The TV was broken and unusable. Ben walked up to the closet again. He seemed to have known someone was hiding inside from the start. To satisfy his urge to attack, he frantically pounded on the wooden closet door with his hands. The chimpanzee, strengthened by the virus, was incredibly powerful. He was so small, yet his combat power was astonishing. After successfully smashing the closet door, foaming at the mouth, he flipped through the clothes searching everywhere. He actually found Lucy and Kate's hiding spot, but he didn't attack immediately. Instead, he turned and left. Lucy had no idea what was going on. Little did she know they were being used as bait. But the other two people weren't lured over. Ben had to use the tablet to play Lucy as bad. When Lucy tried to grab the phone, Kate was kind enough not to keep attacking Ben. The two quickly ran out and closed the door. Ben stopped shouting. They thought the door could trap him. Unexpectedly, he suddenly turned the doorknob. Kate panicked and blocked it with all her strength. Ben didn't persist. He slowly backed away after glancing forward for a moment. Lucy had a bad feeling. Kate, who wasn't focusing on escaping, was dragged to the ground by Ben. She cried out to Lucy for help, and only then did Lucy realize she hadn't followed, and Ben was now both vicious and cunning. As soon as he saw Lucy coming, he quickly picked up a stone and threw it. Seeing her best friend's face being smashed into pulp, Lucy screamed in utter collapse, but escaping for her life was the top priority right now. When she was less than 2 meters away from the pool, Ben tackled her to the ground. Hannah quickly got out of the water to save her. Enraged, Ben turned and charged at her. She had no choice but to jump back into the water. To kill Ben, she and Lucy pulled the rope together, hoping to drown Ben in the water, but Ben's strength was simply overwhelming. The rope was eventually pulled away totally by Ben. Their hope of survival was shattered once again. Meanwhile, Adam sent a message asking his daughter to call him back, but he received no reply for a long time. No matter how important the upcoming event was, he wouldn't attend it. He had to go home to make sure his child was safe. At the same time, the most dramatic scene unfolded. The young men they'd met on the plane actually showed up. As soon as they got into the house, they shouted to get the party started, but there was no response at all. It was somewhat awkward. The two split up and searched around the house. One of them even suspected they'd come to the wrong place. The other said for sure this was the right place. Maybe the girls were hiding on purpose for fun and making them look. While the two were chatting, Ben quietly pulled open the sliding door and followed Jack upstairs. Jack had no idea about this. He wondered if Hannah and the others were really good at playing hide and seek. When he looked at the phone in the bedroom, he found there were 11 missed calls. At this point, he still hadn't realized danger was approaching. Instead, he lay on the big bed to test how soft it was in advance. When he looked at the photo on the nightstand, he complained about who would keep a chimpanzee as a pet. As soon as he finished speaking, Ben appeared. Jack was a little afraid of this kind of animal, so he praised Ben for being a good boy, hoping it wouldn't pounce on him. Ben clapped his hands slowly, then approached him slowly. Jack quickly said he meant no harm, hoping Ben would stop getting closer. Finding it useless, he took out his keys to tease him, thinking the chimpanzee might like this toy. Seeing Ben was really interested, he quickly threw the keys far away for him to pick up.
Dude. Hey.
Jack had a strong survival instinct. He imitated the chimpanzee by pounding his chest to show friendliness. Unexpectedly, Ben followed suit and pounded his chest. He praised him for being strong like King Kong, but it was getting late. He remembered his grandma was giving birth to his dad tonight. He had to wait outside the delivery room. Ben wouldn't let him leave at all. He flew into a rage and started cursing loudly, shouting that he would have the animal services take Ben away. Jack was stunned, watching the chimpanzee gnaw at his own chin. It was simply living hell. At this point, Jason was still looking for people, wondering where everyone had hidden. After wandering for a long time, he found the villa had an underground pool. He quickly told his friend that he'd found the girls. Lucy and the others anxiously told him not to make a sound. Jason didn't understand what was going on. Suddenly a bone flew over from behind. How could he guess it was his best friend's chin? Lucy and the others kept warning him to run or jump into the water, but he picked up the bone and started examining it. By the time he realized, it was too late. Looking at the manic chimpanzee, he picked up a small shovel to fight back. With him drawing the attention, Hannah rushed upstairs to find the phone, only to see Jason hacked to pieces by Ben with the shovel. She didn't stay long, enduring the pain of glass shards piercing her feet. She trotted into the living room to find her phone, grabbed the car keys along the way, and ran to the car. She thought she was finally safe. Unexpectedly, the car keys she had didn't match the car at all. She looked beside her in despair, and realized it was Jack's car. Her own car, the same model, was the one next to it. She wanted to take a chance and run over, but saw Ben, covered in blood, chasing after her, so she had to get back in the car and call for help. The police operator asked for her address, but she had no idea at all. As she spoke, Ben smiled and took out Jack's car keys to unlock the door. Hannah panicked and quickly locked the car using the interior button. The operator was still telling her to describe her location as best she could. To her despair, Ben opened the trunk while she was talking. Only Lucy and her younger sister were left in the villa now. Her younger sister was seriously injured. With Hannah not returning, Lucy had to take action again. Her foot was pierced through by a standing shard of glass. She quickly covered her mouth, but Ben still heard her. In the nick of time, Adam drove back. Ben was drawn toward him. Because the bodies were hidden very well, Adam had no idea anyone had been killed, so he entered the house empty-handed. Lucy tried to warn her father, but he was deaf and couldn't hear. The noise drew Ben over. Lucy struggled desperately, but Ben suddenly stopped moving. He even made a gesture to shake hands with her. Lucy thought he remembered something, but her hand was broken instead. She fought back hard and then hid under the sofa. Ben moved like a ghost, trying to crawl in after her. Then a miracle happened. Her younger sister stepped forward voluntarily to attract Ben, in order to save her sister, leaving 3 more scratch marks on her stomach. Meanwhile, their father entered his daughter's room, and found a body on the bed. He finally realized something terrible had happened. At this point, Lucy and her sister were still stalling Ben. Lucy was caught in the end. Ben was about to bite another chin. When he heard the familiar whistle, their father thought the trick would still work. Little did he know, Ben's brain had long been completely consumed by the virus. Ben bit his leg. He punched hard to break free, but he was no match for Ben either. Seeing his daughter fall, Adam kept throwing heavy punches, but he was quickly pinned down again. Ben grabbed his hair and slammed his head against the floor. But Adam knew Ben had to die, otherwise, his 2 daughters would be in danger, so he stabbed a broken wine bottle into Ben's heart. Ben stopped moving. The 2 daughters went up to check on their father. They thought they were finally safe. Unexpectedly, Ben stood up again. Lucy quickly pushed her father and sister away. Ben was finally dead. Lucy was then pulled up by her father and sister. Later, the police received the address and arrived. The movie ends here. The whole group couldn't defeat a single chimpanzee. It feels pretty unbelievable. They only thought about finding a phone. Did no one think to grab a knife or another weapon? Also, why did Ben sometimes seem big and sometimes small? But setting aside the logic, it was actually quite bloody and satisfying. A rampaging chimpanzee killing everyone in its path, and killing in different ways. He was pretty dedicated. In a way, this is exactly what a pure B movie should be like. If you like my channel, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe.